Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Leitan Jaizu, Khallu Shay Bikhair. Leitan Jaizu, Khallu Shay Bikhair.
I'll take that one. Okay.
What sort of position's that to come from?
Game, set, and match, Bodie.
Bodie again? What's the matter with him?
I don't know. Maybe he just likes the real thing.
The way he's shaping, he won't even be considered if it happens.
I've gone over your reports. They're very thorough, Jack.
Thank you, sir.
Reading between the lines, there seems to have been a deterioration in one of our best units.
3-7 and 4-5.
Bodie and Doyle. Or not to beat about the bush, 3-7 himself.
Bodie.
Yes. Give me your considered opinion, Jack. Off the record.
Even with 3-7 below par, those two are still a crack team.
Oh, not that team, Jack. Bodie.
Well, he may just be going through a bad patch.
Jack, we know he's going through a bad patch. What I'm asking you is why.
Old age?
What?
It's a possibility.
Oh, come off it.
I'm serious. Look at professional boxers. They're at their peak, then suddenly the legs go. They keep on fighting well for many years after, but everyone knows they're not where they were. The legs have gone. I've seen them go much younger than Bodie.
Clear. Have you run a complete physical on him?
Yes, and I've disguised it by giving it to everyone else.
And?
Well, all the medical, scientific stuff's tip-top. Oxygen capacity, glycogen storage, the lot. But then so they probably were with Randy Turpin when he was over the hill.
What about his reflexes?
There are no empirical tests to measure them to the accuracy needed. Our boys are making calculations and adjustments at speeds the human nervous system is not meant to be able to attain.
Could he be overtrained, maybe, still?
That can't be ruled out.
How would you deal with it if that was the case?
Standard alternative. Either we lay him off for a while, rest and test, or we double his training load in all categories and examine again.
What do you call that routine?
Make or break.
How close is he to his limits right now? Could he take that sort of increase?
There's only one way to find out.
Well, we're not running a convalescent home, Jack, are we?
No, sir. What are you two on? 3-minute intervals?
Yeah.
Well, we'll try it again on 2.
64. 65. 65, that one didn't count. Oh, that's it.
You know, if you counted in French, I'd have made it.
Your arithmetical achievements are all behind you, my son. You ever thought of becoming a missionary?
Listen, I don't like positions overseas, okay?
Instruction. Each line contains an odd letter. Answer 1 to 5. Instruction. Following display is incorrect. Answer A to B.
Okay, I'm going to shorten your answer time from 1.5 seconds to half a second.
Instruction. If 80 documents are encoded in half an hour, how many in 7.5 hours? Answer A to E.
How'd I do, Doc?
Oh, for a mental defective, it was a genius score. For a genius, it was mentally defective.
Yeah, what about those deliberately wild answers I threw in to confuse old Herbie?
I'm afraid your wild answers have long since ceased to take anyone by surprise. Least of all the computer, which already has a built-in personalised idiosyncrasy function just for you.
You're kidding.
Has it never occurred to you that the only questions you deliberately answer wrongly are the ones to which you easily know the right answers? And has it further never penetrated your pretty curls that the computer is fully aware of your areas of competence and consequently takes special register of extreme deviations from normal and expected competence?
What are you doing tonight?
As for taking refuge in sexual chauvinism, you've already branded yourself loud and clear.
What? How?
By attributing masculinity to the computer.
Well, Herbie?
And interestingly enough, although you make it male, presumably because you feel somewhat in awe of its undoubted power, you also feel impelled to denigrate it with a childish, patronising diminutive, which suggests on the face of it a profound insecurity in sexual demarcations. Wouldn't you agree, Bodie?
Huh? Oh, yes, miles out of his depth. Still, watching his struggles gives one a certain masochistic pleasure.
I'll tell you what. I'll bet you a £5 that if you took me home with you tonight, put me on your pillow, when we woke up in the morning, I'd have turned back into a frog. Look, here's £5. Take it. Go, take it now.
Next time I need a tooth fairy, I'll send for you. Goodbye, boys. Wouldn't you agree, Bodie?
Oh, he's way out of his depth. Still, watching his struggles gives me a certain masochistic pleasure.
How do you fancy my chances with the Queen of Cybernetics, then?
It's the first time I've ever seen a piece of cheese try to seduce a mouse.
What happened to your lofty ambitions in that direction, then?
I'm a fat, waiting cat, and I like my mice well fed.
'77 on 3.
Alpha, 1-9.
Oh, Mr. Cowley.
Ah, Dr. Ross, is that Bodie's file?
Yes, as you can see, it confirms my earlier report last month.
A 10% decline in mental faculties in so short a time.
Well, you see, there is a possibility that the tests my predecessor made were consistently inflated. But my very first result also tallied with her previous ones. And, of course, Doyle's quotient is unchanged, as we expected.
Are there any precedents in your experience, Dr. Ross, to this kind of thing?
No, I am running a check on other institutions and databanks just to make sure, but that information will take some time to come through. There is one factor in this last test which may be significant.
Yeah?
You see, the decline in performance was markedly reduced as the answer time was restricted. You can see there his scores on 10-second intervals, 6, 4, 2.
The less time he has to think, the better he does.
Well, that's one way of putting it.
What will be another?
The more he thinks, the worse he does.
Well, that sounds different somehow.
Well, facts are facts. Do you call a glass of water half empty or half full?
If it was a small glass and it had malt whiskey in it, I'd say it was half empty. Thank you, Dr. Rossi.
Having a drink in a pub.
What pub is that?
The Checkered Flag.
Anything else?
No. And I couldn't see him fighting Miss World either.
What do you mean?
He must have had a heavy training session. He looks knackered.
Thank you, 7-7. You can sign off now. Alpha out.
77 to base. Close down. 1900 hours. Precisely.
Hello? Yeah, come on up. Hello. I was just going out.
That's all right. I won't have a drink. Where do you get this lot, eh?
Borrowed it from Bodie. It's the first time for everything, you know. Is this a social quarter?
I'm surprised you've got any energy left for socializing during the current training schedule.
Oh, you know what they say, don't you? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Right. Doyle, I'm disappointed with you.
Oh?
Your results have been, let's say, unsatisfactory.
Unsatisfactory?
You seem to have lost your edge.
I seem to have lost my edge.
Yes.
And nobody else has lost his edge except me. All right, you got me. It's very sneaky.
What do you think's the matter with Bodie?
Nothing's the matter with Bodie.
Nothing?
Look, Jack's running us pretty hard, you know. Some of his simulations make the real thing look soft.
You're hanging in there?
Yeah, well, Bodie did all this stuff before he joined CI5. I didn't. Maybe he finds repetition boring.
No matter how he finds it, he's not coming up to scratch.
He'll get over it.
Over what?
Whatever it is.
Whatever what is.
I don't know.
Are you covering up for him?
Covering what, precisely?
Nothing.